And Victus, my kings, and welcome back to the Total War Shogun 2 Fall of the Samurai United States of America campaign playthrough. And the dastardly clan of Mito has pushed on into our territory as we were dealing with the Prussians and stabilizing the territories, finally not revolting for 5 seconds. Stabilizing the territories over on in the north. The clan of Mito decided to go on the attack against us, and yeah, surprise us with their arrival. But as we can see, they have a lot of just traditional units, so I think we should be able to beat them just with basically almost the full stack of foot colonial infantry, while the main army, or the army of our main general, or however you want to call it, is going on to recapture Shimotsuke and then push down. Today we will be capturing this little peninsula over here because, as you can see on the map, it sort of bulges out into our territory, and we want the complete control of mid-eastern, mid-northern, however you want to say, Japan. That is our goal, and we will not be thwarted in this at all. Definitely not by some upstart clan that just got a little bit lucky because we were dealing with the Prussians. Now they think they can push us around just because we weren't paying attention. But the slam dunk of the army of the United States definitely coming like quick save, and let's have a little bit of a battle. Why not? Alright, here we are on the battlefield, ready to go forward with our colonial foot infantry. Let's spread them out nice and thin and deploy our general behind. Let's see what the enemy is going to do, whether they're going to push forward, and push forward they will. Very good, very good. That means that we can set all of our troops to kneel fire and ranked fire ability, meaning that they will be, well, a little bit more effective when it comes to dealing with the oncoming threat, which, by the way, I think, at least if I was developing these foot colonial infantry and the colonial infantry that all the other factions have, I would have actually made them Asian, or a mixture of white and Asian, or something like that. I think that would be a little bit more logical, since they're supposed to be the foot infantry from the colonial holdings, right? And well, I suppose there's always the volunteer infantry and the conscript infantry, which essentially is something like that. It's kind of similar to what the colonial foot infantry is supposed to represent. But, well, anyway, it's just my rambling mind. I think this flank like this, is we're eventually gonna envelop the oncoming rush of enemy troops, because I think they're gonna actually try and punch a hole straight through the middle. They have a bunch of units which are melee focused, I think. When they pop up again, we'll see. There we go. They have some Teppo Samurai, which I think are actual ranged infantry, but there we go. We have some Naginata Samurai and some Yari Yashigaru. So they do actually have some old school Shogun 2 vanilla units which they are using, and they have some old school melee units. So yeah, but the battle has begun. Our units are doing some fine ranked fire, and the volleys should be absolutely devastating to the enemy, as indeed they are. And with these fellas we can flank around like so, just to really make sure that we get all of them in a pincer of fire. And there are some mounted katana samurai coming, but we got a few of them. We got a few of them in the end, but this is definitely an issue. Let's toggle melee and let's go for them. They are really trying to punch a hole through the middle, which is understandable. We have a thin Excuse me. We have a thin line of defense over here. They managed to push through. They managed to punch through the center a little bit. As I say, we just have a thin line. Nothing too exceptional. Our units are just a basic colonial infantry. So the fact that they managed to punch through isn't a great surprise. It doesn't really matter even if we don't win 100% of the time with a complete stomp. It's at least it makes these engagements a little bit more interesting. At least that's in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of always just completely stomping the enemy. That's not it's not necessarily always fun to either play or watch. So let's have a little bit of a mixed bag, and these samurai are definitely going for it. Let's see if they manage to punch through the middle. Let's see if they manage to punch through the flanks as well. This flank should be collapsing relatively soon. Nothing to really do about that. They have managed to push through that flank, so all that remains is the original right flank of our units, that is, and let's see how well they do. Okay, it looks like they're mostly focusing on the original left flank over here. They see it as the easier target, I suppose, while they have left some Tipo Samurai, Bow Samurai, and Bow Levy to take care of our right flank over there. It's completely fine. We have managed to crush the Yari Levy that were coming at us, and yeah, let's just quickly turn around. There's still some Katana Ronin, however, they are very tired. This is one of the advantages that we have. We can give up some blood for time, so to say. That's the essential strategy of this battle. Look at them just casually placing their general's bodyguard in front of our colonial foot infantry. Not the best strategy, I would assume, but hey, if it works, it works. But over here, we are managing to smash the Tipo Samurai, Bow Samurai, and Bow Levy quite a bit. So, by the time the other flank breaks, we should have enough, well, enough still left in our gas tank so that this disaster of a battle doesn't happen again. Not sure what I could have really done all that differently so that something like this wouldn't have happened. We will endure major losses either way once our line infantry gets into personal physical contact with these katana wielding melee infantry. It's always a little bit of a disaster for us because, as I say, I'm only using colonial foot infantry. Maybe some of our more heavily or more elite troops would have a better chance at actually repelling some marines, for example. But there we go, they actually managed to break. So this one unit of 45 men actually managed to push back the charging Katana Ronin, mostly because they were very tired already. So actually, let's spare these guys. They've done enough of a good job. No reason why they should be pushed further. Now it's time for these fellas to push forward and clean up the remaining Tipo Ashigaru, Yari Levy, and Yari Ashigaru that the enemy still has. And yeah, we should have this battle in the bag. There we go. We are closing in on the enemy over here, deploying some definite heavy fire against them. The Tipo Ashigaru getting a little bit hammered over here, and they managed to turn tail and run, and all of the enemy has now routed. There are actually, they haven't turned tail and run, they're just wavering. It sort of just looked like, and now they have left. So it is a victory, a bit of a costly one, but it is a victory. We take those no matter what kind of victory it is. The game seems to think it was a decisive victory. I would actually disagree. It's more of a close victory, but hey, their general managed to rank up. I guess that's something, but managed to defeat their one and only army. The general over here is pushing from the north. These guys are really, really screwed, in my opinion. We managed to actually get a sight of an epic battle over here. Very cool, very cool. So yeah, let's push forward. There we go. The army of Perry Anthony should be able to reach Shimotsuke and absolutely blast them apart. Decisive victory indeed. Peacefully occupy. Shimotsuke is back in our hands, and it should remain in our hands. Now we have the glorious vindication of marching on Hitachi and finally dealing with the clan of Mito once and for all. The army over here that just fought the battle is a little bit battered, but I'm bringing up reinforcements, and together with the army of Penny Anthony, they should have an easy time sweeping through the clan of Mito, then the clan of Koga, and finally the clan of Josai in the cities of Shimosa and Kazusa. To finally take control of this bulge that was a little uncomfortable. Yes, it was feeling a little bit uncomfortable within our borders. It wasn't really something that we would like to see. And here we go. The main army is just about ready to go against Hitachi. They retreated, no issue. Close victory. So this one was a close victory, but the other one was a decisive victory. A little bit strange, but I'll take it. No matter the victory, we take those. No victory is too good for us or too shameful or anything like that. No, and the United States of America over here, we take those. We are glad to receive any kind of victory, to be honest. And this little contingent can probably start moving over to South Shinano, or maybe towards Echu, because in the next part we will clean up the final remaining bits of independent clans over here before we take on the British and the Northern Alliance, which is basically it's supposed to be sort of a collection of traditionally minded clans. They're a playable faction, but so they are a little bit stronger. But in the Prussian campaign, we had no trouble with them. But we're gonna deal with the peninsula, and then we're gonna move towards the British, and we will have quite a big fight against the British. As you can see, they control the entirety of central Japan, and so that's gonna be quite the war. But for the remainder of this part, time to clean up the peninsula. All right, here we are. Time to take out Shimosa. There should be no issue whatsoever. Yeah, there we go. Battle a little bit not in our favor, but once the second army joins in, there we go. Close victory again. Bit disappointing, but what can you do now? The clan of Koga has turned into rebels, and yeah, so we just deal with them next turn, and then we'll march on the city of Kazusa, currently held by the clan of Josai. And yeah, the sweep will be complete. Alright, time to march on. So this army can go towards Kazusa, continue siege. Second army can march up and support. And there we go. Auto-resolve, decisive victory, peacefully occupy. And there we go. The entirety of the troublesome bulge, let's call it, is dealt with. All of northern, mid-eastern, whatever you want to say, Japan is ours. Next up, we'll clean up the middle portion over here to move us closer towards British holdings. And then there's going to be a giant war over who holds exactly the city of Yamashiro, which is our arbitrary dividing point, but it is sort of in the center, isn't it? So it's going to be our arbitrary dividing point between what is held by us and what isn't, and we will push the British further west where they can have whatever they want. We aren't interested in that. But yeah, so the cleanup continues, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.